Hello developers, this video I'll be showing you a difficult SQL puzzle problem here. I'm on codewars.com. It is similar to LeetCode in that you can do all kinds of coding puzzles including SQL. And if you can get good with solving these, then you might have some good luck with interviews or just data in general. It's good to know a process as far as solving these coding puzzles, because there's certainly a right way and a wrong way to do it, and through trial and error and through experience of building out a lot of these solutions, I can give you some advice on how to be a little bit more successful and productive, so then you can solve these and you can be on your way from going from beginner all the way up to advanced in a short period of time. Just to start off, I'll show you this repository I have here. I call it SQL queries. I'll put the link below, but this is a huge repository I've made of all kinds of solutions to SQL coding problems. I've put together the questions and answers. So I have the questions and I have answers, the queries included. And so this one we're doing today is this one here. I created it as a markdown file. And this was on CodeWars. Don't be fooled by this. I have LeetCode up here, but this is from CodeWars. And it was done with PostgreSQL, and I have here the image of the schemas we're dealing with, or you could call it the ERD diagram. I have the solution here, and I have this is what the query output will be. So let's walk through how to understand the problem itself. So this might look very familiar. So we have all these relationships here, and for this challenge you need to create a view. A view is another name for just a subquery table. This view is used by a sales store to give out vouchers to members who have spent over $1,000 in departments that have brought in more than $10,000 total ordered. The query should be ordered by members ID, and the view must be called members approved for voucher. So the testing will test that you're creating a view called members approved for voucher. You're creating a view, so it's testing for all that stuff. And the crux of the question is asking, okay, so you have to select members who have spent over $1,000, and I actually made this a little bit easier. So this is the final query we're going to get. Our final query is going to look like this, right? And so you can see here that all of these are over $1,000, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to query names and the emails of these customers, total amount of money they've spent, and you can see the member names are pulled from this table, members table. The emails are pulled from the members table as well. And we're seeing the total spent, and the total spent is going to come from products, because if you look at these four tables, the only time a dollar amount really shows up is here in the products table. Price, right? So what we have to do is we have to join products and sales on product ID, right, in order to get our prices. So what we're going to do is we're going to get prices from the products table in order to find the total amount spent by each customer. And we can only count purchases that come from departments where the total amount of sales from that department is over $10,000. So this might be a little confusing, but first let's query these tables that we're dealing with, okay? So we could do like select star from, let's say, members, right? I'm going to comment this out. Let's just query this. It's a little slow. I might be able to speed this up. Right, so this is what our members table looks like. And this codewars setup is not the greatest because they're going to cut off some of these columns here. But it's all here, right? So this is what our members table looks like. Select star from sales, right? These are the sales. Let's query this. Let's see if this works. I'm going to select all the information from the sales table. Yeah, this is the sales table. Transaction date, product ID, right? You see how there's really no prices in the sales, right? So that's why we have to join the sales table with the products table, right? We have to join them, those two, in order to get the price of each item, right? Because our products table is going to show the individual prices for each of these items. So one trick I could show you to help solve these coding puzzle websites. Another similar website is Stratus Scratch. You got Leet Code and you got this site, codewars. Is let me think. Output. Okay. So you see these table outputs. Our first one was select star from members, right? Yeah, so what you could do is you can do Control Shift I or Command Shift I on Mac, and you can inspect these elements here, right? These table elements. I think this is a pretty cool trick here. Let's see if I can get this to work here. So we're gonna highlight this table here, right? Because we're interested in dealing with this table. If we expand this out by clicking it, right? Right, you see how we got this table thing here? So if we right click this and edit as HTML, see, this is the HTML for making a table, right? And what if we highlight this, right? What if we highlight this table? And we'll copy it. We'll go to this website here, tableconvert.com, right? And we're going to paste the HTML in here because it says up here data source and HTML table, right? And let's just give our table a name. So yeah, so now they're going to give us an SQL query, right? So we can create this table on our end, on our like dbeaver or some kind of SQL software. And we're going to do multiple rows at once, so we can do all this at once, right? And I think I can just, yeah, I can copy this to clipboard, and I could pull up my SQL editor. Let's make some space here. I'll paste all this code in, right? I got lost in the matrix here. Alright, so let's create our table video example. Created the table. Let's just refresh this. There it is, right? Okay, so we created our table, but we have to insert information into it, right? And so that's where this comes in handy. We're going to insert into all this data, which came from codewars. And now we inserted all of it. Let's refresh this. There it is. So that's how we got the information from codewars into our own table here. So we could potentially, if we really wanted to, we could build the queries. We can test the queries inside our own code editor. It's especially useful if you're using a site like Leet Code, which will sometimes throttle you and not allow you to just keep running SQL queries. So it's just something to keep in mind. This is a good hack around solving these puzzles. Yeah, just remember that tableconvert.com. Okay, cool. So I think what we want to do is, in order to solve this puzzle, because there's a lot of steps to it, there's a couple interesting steps, such as building the create view, which they're asking for. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to build our query. Our query is going to go down here, and then down here we're going to do select star from members approved for voucher, right? That's going to be our prototype here. Okay, so in here is going to be our query. So I saw this using a common table expression. I'm just going to copy and paste in this common table expression here, because I already got it. I think this is a little messy. I hope you can make some sense of this. Okay, with CTE as... Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to select p.price, right? We're going to select the products tables, price, department ID. So what we're going to do is we're going to join the products table and the sales table on product ID equals sales.product ID, and that's how we're going to extract. That's how we're going to be able to select price. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get the sum of these prices grouped by each department that shows up in our sales table. Okay, so that's how we're going to get a nice compact query of the sales by each department. So if I go down here and do select star from CTE, I think I have this right. Yeah, let's run this, see how this works. I'm not sure if I like this full screen thing here. I don't like how the windows are sized here. Get rid of the space here, right? Run the test here. Okay, so these are our departments. There's department 1, 2, 3, and 4. Department 4 has less than $10,000. Department 1 looks like it has the most sales. And the question is asking, we only want to deal with departments that have more than $10,000 in sales, right? What we can do here is and we can do it in a couple different places. Let's just do it up here. Group by department having some, right? Having some price greater than 10,000, right? Let's see if this query works. Okay. Yeah, so that's how we could get only the departments having more than $10,000 in sales. Again, if we turn this off, the way you can comment out stuff in SQL is similar to JS docs notation, where you just do the asterisk and the /. Okay. A couple different ways to solve this, but so the first thing we did was we're selecting the departments that have sales across the board greater than $10,000. And the next part of our query is the difficult one, where we're trying to get, okay, so our final result has to have the ID, and the ID pertains to the member ID. The member ID, the name of the member, the email of the member, and the total amount they have spent. So I think what we have to do is, we're not going to really select start from CTE. What we're going to do is we're going to select member ID, right? As ID, right? Because we're going to select member ID. We're going to pull it from here, from the sales table. And we're going to alias it as ID. Let's see if this works. We're going to select name of the member, email, right? And let me make this text bigger. Maybe that's too big. Okay. And sum, right? We're going to get the sum price. Total spending, right? Right, we're going to get the sum as total spending, because that's the final column name that we need. From, and this is where we're going to chain together a lot of join statements. From, and we're going to select it from, yeah, member ID, m.name, m.email, price, c.department ID. From products table, aliased as P, we're going to join sales, aliased as S, on p.id equals s.product _ ID. Okay, so the reason we're joining the products table and the sales table is we're doing something similar. We're doing something similar to what we did up here, up in this query, because we need to join products and sales in order to get the price of the stuff that was sold. Okay, so once we get this price, then we'll be able to sum the prices in order to get the total for each member. Okay. We're going to join members M on m.id equals s.member _ ID. And we're also going to build out a column of yeah, we have to join the member ID from our sales table with the members table so that we can extract the m.name and the m.email. So we can extract each member's name and email. And then what we're going to do is we're going to join CTE C on s.department _ ID equals c.department _ ID. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to join this with this CTE table, right? So that we can get the total, right? The total prices. Okay. I'm a little bit confused here. total is greater than 1,000. So we need, yeah, we need total sales greater than 1,000, right? Oh no, where total is greater than 10,000. That was, I forgot what I was thinking exactly. Okay, so what we're doing is we're pulling all the total sales from each department. We're only picking one where the total sales are greater than 10,000, right? Because we're joining the sales table on our CTE table, C for CTE, where we're only dealing with totals over 10,000. Aliasing that as Z. Group by member underscore ID. Z.name, Z.email. Having. Actually, I'm not going to include the having here. Not yet. And then we're going to order by member ID. And the reason we're ordering by member ID is because they're specifically asking you here, order by the member's ID. Let's see if I can make sense of this query. Okay, so we have our CTE table. Let me just delete this, just to avoid confusion. We have our CTE table, which is pulling out the total sales for each department. And then we're joining the members table with the sales table and the products table with the sales table so that we can extract the member name, the member email, and the price for each item sold. And then we're joining the CTE table so that we know the total, so we know the sum total for each department ID we run into, and we only want to pick ones where the total is greater than 10,000. Let's see what happens if we run this query. Yeah, I have a typo. It's on line 21. Select member ID from this from, and I think I have to put a select in there, right? We forgot the select keyword. From select member ID. And I have so many errors in my query here. Maybe I have extra stuff going on here. Let's see what happens if we run this. Okay, so we finally got a response. So we're getting all the member names and the member emails and the total amount of money they've spent. Let's see if I can, yeah, that works better. And we've only failed 2 qualifications in the test, right? Because this is what they're expecting. They're expecting our query to look like this. So we have this, and it is ranked correctly. We're ranking it by member ID. However, we only want totals that are over $1,000, right? So we have a total that's below $1,000 here. This is below $1,000. Now this here, this member ID of 12, right? Let's see if that lines up with this. Eliza at 11:05 and Eliza at 11:05. So it seems like all we have to do is we just have to filter out totals that are under $1,000. So what we would do is, since we have an aggregate function up here of some price, we can use the having statement, right? Some price. Greater than 1,000, right? We're going to run this query here. Order by, group by. Ooh, see, my syntax is off here. Maybe I should move this. Group by this. Having that. Looks like my syntax was just wrong there. Alright, cool. Now we passed all 13 tests. Now let me show you what happens if I say... So this is correct. This is a correct solution to this problem. Now there's a difference between using having and where, right? So let's say if we did where price. So we already have a where here. We have this. Usually where goes before group by. So let's move this before group by. Let's see what happens when we run this. You see, it breaks the code. So when we have an aggregate function up here, and when we're only trying to query prices or total spending here, when we're only trying to query results that are above or below a certain condition, since we're in this aggregate function here, we have to use the having, right? That's when we use having. And that should work. Yeah. So yeah, I hope I helped to make sense of this, because I think this is a more difficult SQL problem. And the reason it's difficult is because we have these 4 tables, and you have to be mindful of joining them in order to get the information you need, such as price. Price was the most critical component of this problem because we had to use it in our CTE. We had to get the price for each department. We had to aggregate the total sales for each department. And so in order to do that, we had to join price from products. And we had to join them again as well in our final query, subquery here, in order to get the total amount spent by each member ID. So that stuff's critical, and just always remember when you're using these joins, you can always join multiple tables together, right? You can join multiple tables together. You can left join or inner join. You can left join to include nulls, to include columns that aren't matching, and you can use just a normal join. A normal standard join is mostly useful if you're trying to do precise math, like we were doing here. We have to precisely know certain totals. So a normal join like this is also known as an inner join. It's the same thing. So yeah, I recommend using this convert table HTML website so you can quickly make plain text. I forgot to show you that too. Yeah, you can make plain text tables with this, right? And I think that's useful when you're making like it's useful when you're making like just files, because normal files, it's nice to have it look like this, right? Because not everybody wants to look at SQL stuff. So yeah, check out the website Coding Wars so you can tackle some of these SQL problems, and tune in for more of my videos where I try to explain how to do these aggregate functions and querying in general with SQL, because I have built out a lot of solutions for many SQL problems. So like and subscribe, and happy coding.